But there's another killer feature that you also want to implement, but you also want to polish the current features that you've already implemented. So what do you recommend in this situation? Do you polish what you have right now, or do you work on that other killer feature, given that it may be a bit risky that you may not be able to implement it in time? Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, I think I've gotten these similar questions like this before, and sometimes it's even related to finishing up a feature, and then finishing up that feature eats into the time to prepare the presentation. You know, I need to get this feature working, and then presentation, I'm just going to, yeah, so first, you have team members. Yeah, so one of the very first things you do is you run this kind of situation with your team members. But as a rule of thumb, you need something working, right? You need something working, not production ready, but something decent, and then you have to balance that with how much creativity or how much innovation that you want to do with your final solution. If you spend too much time doing something magnificent and you don't have time to clean up the other parts, or you don't have time to do the presentation, then it doesn't really work. So whatever you want to show, make sure you have something that's functional, that's working, and that's presentable, and then you have enough time to actually showcase it. And then something else I forgot to mention is that sometimes you'll see teams, they'll come up and they'll say something like, oh, we really had this idea to implement this particular feature, but we didn't have time to do it. Or we're going to implement this, we didn't have time to do it. So you don't necessarily have to, because apart from providing solutions and contributing, you also would like to win, right? There's a satisfaction that comes from winning. Yeah, so you need something that's functional and that's presentable. You don't want to be stuck trying to build everything. So that's the reason you have to be aware of the trap of perfectionism. So you're not stuck there. Yeah.
All right, thank you. That was really informative answer. And I guess my second question is like, this might be a bit more technical, but like I'm sure you've done a lot of hackathons. So for example, if my team is developing a web app, in your experience, like, for the hackathons that you mentored and you've done, are there any sort of like frameworks or tools that you've seen in common that would allow like developers to get a prototype out quickly?
So that actually varies from team to team, and also, so if you have a backend engineer that's more comfortable working with Django, for instance, it's going to be Ruby on Rails. It's easier to just go Ruby on Rails or go Django than trying to mess around with Node if you're not really comfortable with using Node. So it's but some hackathons, they won't let you to bring in any kind of solution whatsoever. But nowadays, it's more helpful to bring in reusable components for things like registration forms, for instance, like some basic things that are common to every kind of web application. They would allow you to bring like this little reusable component. And if you have that in React or any of the framework, that's fine, but it's also tailored to the skill of your team and what you guys are comfortable with. Someone's like comfortable, okay, all of my my play or side projects, I'll just host them on Heroku. Then by all means, make sure that whatever you're doing, you don't have to spend so much time. You want to optimize for time, and then do the thing that's easy for you. And then later down the line, we might migrate your solution to something better, right? Yeah, the proper infrastructure down the line.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so I'll definitely keep that in mind and definitely play to our team's strengths. Thank you. That's it from me.
If I may comment on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Edwin.
From a Web3 perspective, there's a really cool tool in Web3 called Morales. Because I know, like, if you're in hackathon to be a developer, a whole chunk of your time will be building your backend infrastructure, like user registration, authentication, all those stuff. So if you're in the Web3, just Google Morales. A lot of cool tools there with React, Morales, and stuff to help you with your hackathon project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. So I got another one here from Ainsoft.
Hi, everyone. This is Ainsoft. Thanks for the presentation so far. Yeah, I just have a question on sustainability. So we don't, there's a lot of technologies and a lot of options out there, but we want to, produce a solution that's sustainable. So noting that there's a website for the PIANGO. Just wondering in terms of hosting, like once the solution is available, what kind of facilities are available to host the solution? Would we use that same server that the web server's on, or do they have funds to pay for another type of hosting? So that's one question. And another one is just referring to the documentation for the ideal platform. It says something about having a clean tracking system. So just wondering if you could clarify what you mean by a clean tracking system. That's it for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Do we still have PIANGO online? Who could probably help answer that part of the. So in terms of hosting, what do you have any facilities? Do you have capabilities within your organization?
I have no idea what you're asking for. We do have a website, and what I can say is that if at the end of this exercise that there is a need to update the website or provide the right facility to host it, we will have that. We make that commitment. But other than that, don't ask me any. That's what happened to young kids who are so smart that they asking all the promo people. But yes, we will support the facility to host the tool to make it work. If I can just say that the answer.
Okay, thank you. So maybe I'll put it to Dr. Humphrey and Sam. Maybe you guys could give some tips on how the teams can think about that part of it. Is it an important part of the prototyping, the solution that you need to provide, or is it just, hey, think about it, probably put some solutions out there, but you don't necessarily need to make it the top priority? I mean, addressing the problem is probably more important than the architecture itself. Could you guys probably share your experience, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can have a go. So in this particular context and situation, so just deploy to whatever. At least that's what I would advise. You can use AWS or GCP. They have free tiers, and if you're not going to exceed 500 MB of memory, then you can hopefully use Heroku, because Heroku will let you go up to half a gig of RAM. And there are other. I'm even sure DigitalOcean has its own free tier, and yeah. So use whatever solution, make it work. You demo it, everything's working, and then work out the intellectual property agreement with PIANGO, and then later down the line, if your solution is selected for to go on, then we might even have to rewrite the entire thing from scratch, maybe using a different tech stack entirely. So in what I would say, Sam, you can add to it. What I would say is build it with whatever tool sets and stack that you currently have, present it, and then if it's something that that PIANGO is keen on doing, then everything's going to be moved to a different stack or even completely rewritten. It's just to show the a proper solution that's working.
Okay, thank you.
I think the priority is definitely the solution, making sure that you come up with the solution. The infrastructure is a component of your decision making. If you come up with a solution that uses a lot of paid infrastructure, then that's going to be difficult to sustain. But I guess that will be a decision by PIANGO. If the solution is good enough, then they will most likely find the funding or who to try and fund that. But yeah, it's still important to try and make it as cost effective as possible. So open source, and it's going to be like if going to be like the default. And then if there are paid services, which there usually are, to just do the plugins for more difficult and more advanced complex part of the solution, then that will probably be how you could structure it.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Yeah, I think what I take from that is focus on the solution, find something that's portable, and make it, think about sustainability. And I think what I take from PIANGO's team is that they're very limited in people. So, if you can, there are a lot of other solutions out there, software as a service, infrastructure as a service. So you can put that onus on somebody else, but as long as it's sustainable, and they're able to achieve what they need to achieve in terms of addressing the solution, the problem they had. I've got another question from Hilt. Oh, sorry, there was one more question around tracking systems. So I think the way I'm taking that question is discussions. How do discussions happen at the PIANGO level with the regional? Is there some sort of formal document exchange or some way that how does that happen?
It's a combination of both, where we have to make submissions formally, and those submissions are part of the mechanisms within the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat. At the same time, so PIANGO can make a submissions on our own, reflecting the issue coming from the country. There are times we come together as a regional CSO and make a collective a statement to deliver. At the leaders meeting, there's always, since 2015, there's always a space where civil society and our Pacific leaders engage in a dialogue when the leaders meeting. So that's a collective civil society Pacific statement that we contribute to. But we also have a specific, for example, right now there is a DERT conference happening, and so we are often given opportunity to deliver a statement. So, yeah, written, that has gone through a process, but we also have the time just to share, reflect in part of our sessions. It does not necessarily have to be submitted in writing. So it's a different variety of mode of our engagement.
Thank you for that. So I think just for clarification, I think it's the open, transparent way that you're looking at trying to create that collaborative exchange of information, right? The voices coming up from your national, regional levels, and then having everybody see what's going up further up the chain in terms of regional and government, regional and probably international level. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a question here from Hilton.
Greetings, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Hilton here. I just wanted some confirmation, please. I've noticed that most of the participants are already talking about their frameworks and their technology and how they're planning to code all their working systems. So I was just wanted to confirm, because in the requirements, we're asking for a minimum viable prototype. So I was wondering how much functionality you're expecting from this prototype, whether we are able to submit just linkable screenshots of our idea and how the system is going to work from our perspective, or do you actually want us to code and show you an actual functional prototype? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a judge. We have the judge. We've got the requirements. I think the prototype is the minimum requirement with a presentation. And I think Dr. Humphrey was talking about, the killer parts of your application, because you only have a few days to develop the solution. So you probably just want to focus on the killer part of it, how you're going to address the problem. Can I pass it on to anybody else who probably wants to, from the team?
I think, Alex, we also discussed earlier when this question first came up that we don't anticipate having, because it's only 2 days of developing, we don't anticipate a full solution. But if, there's something of that you have working that you can present, you'll also be marked for that.
Does that answer your question?
I was just wondering because, so I was thinking we'd present our design, which is the prototype, which basically it shows our idea. It doesn't really go into what technology we're going to use, but it's the idea that we're trying to present and to see if that idea will fit well with the requirements of PIANGO.
So maybe that might be a question you could sit down, maybe arrange a meeting with the mentors, and then get some guidance from them in terms of how you're going to pitch that and how you're going to present that, and then you can just fine tune what that's going to look like.
Okay, thanks. I have one more question, please.
Yep.
So it was regarding the requirements for submission. It mentioned that it needs a video and a prototype, but I think down in the rules, it also mentioned a pitch deck. Are we required to submit a pitch presentation as well?
Right, Hilton. So just to clarify, the rules were a custom template that was provided by the DevPost platform, and so we because we're all first time on a hackathon as well, we've had to learn which one is the best, and ideally it would be good to have a prototype. We'd like to have a working prototype and a video. A pitch deck may complicate things, but would have to be, the judges are going to judge according to the what is being submitted and what is the closest to what PIANGO wants in terms of how it's going to solve this solution. And we've had this discussion with PIANGO and UNDP several times on they want a working prototype. And if you can get as close to a working prototype or as close to the solution as possible, you'll get marked for that. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I can see Alsana, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, if that's all right.
Yeah. So before I give it to you, is anybody else other than, because you've already asked a question, is anybody else? No. Okay. Well, you might as well go.
Sorry, Alex,
Yes.
can I just add on to now, I'm not too sure of the requirements of this particular hackathon, but in other hackathons that's more on the beginner side, but also they give the option to, like, it doesn't have to be a fully functional prototype, but you do have ideas. You do also have to explain what technology you're able to make that idea workable. It's not just to have the idea and this is how, but you have to explain the technology behind it so that it can be verified that it can work. So that's just something to help, because it is very difficult to have a fully functional prototype in 2 days.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Sam. I think that that will help. Hilton, is that going to be a lot more help, especially considering you have an idea of the solution, but you're not developing the solution. You just need to work out how you're going to pitch that or present that, and just clarifying on, like Sam has mentioned, how, you know, what sort of platforms or how you're planning to solve it with that presentation that you have. I think that's it, right?
Okay, so I'll pass it to Alisana.
All right, thank you. I wanted to ask PIANGO something that was a little bit in the requirements, and that was on something to do with sort of like tracking progress in terms of contributions. So I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more. So, like, is it tracking those contributions in terms of the discussions that you have, and are you and I know that some contributions are like not just in one country or in one sort of area, and some of them like spread across different countries in the region. So I just wanted to ask a little bit about that and just get some more clarification.
So is PIANGO team still there?
Sorry, can you repeat the questions again?
Yeah, so there was a little bit in the requirements about sort of like tracking progress in the Pacific in terms of the word that's used was contributions. And so this was in terms of like sort of the discussions or sort of the sentiment from the different organizations. Is that correct? And then how those are linked to the contributions that happen, like, for example, projects or programs?
Okay, so when we have our submissions made to the leaders meeting, yeah, and so the leaders will meet and they will deliberate, have the deliberations, then they will make decisions, and usually there will be an outcome statement produced out of the leaders meeting. Within the structure, what they call the regional architecture, that's what it's called, where it's given the structure of how the governance of our region. Remember that in the region they don't have any government, so this is the similar setup of a regional government, where the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat is the political, take care of the political side of things. And then you have the crop agencies, which are the technical arms of that whole system. For example, SPC, they take care of gender, culture and whatever, agriculture. Then you have spread that is more into environment and that. So their role, all of those different crop agencies, their role is to find the resources to work with the government at the national level to implement what came out of the leaders' meeting, what the leaders decide on. If it's education, it goes to USP. If it's health, it's go to SPC. So, so that was our big dream. If there is something like this, that we can have the, we are collecting all the voices from the country, take it to PIFs, leaders make decisions, and then 1 year later, we come to the same conversation, nothing has been done about it. And we make another submission that is just like repeat the same submission the previous year and add another 1 or 2 more. So it become a frustrating experience, and you started to see civil society at the regional level just like losing faith in this whole process, except PIANGO, because we cannot leave the space. Our members are demanding that we continue to sit there and smile while we know that it's going to be the same thing over and over and over. So how do you track that? How do you track the decisions that are made by the leaders? And then if it goes, resources are being put forward by the crop agencies, and it goes into the country, so that we can track the whole process. Remember that the work that we do with these projects is budget, public funds management. So it has started with our civil society in 7 of our Pacific countries, developing what they have the citizen budget guide that help them engage in the national budget process in country. But at the same time, what we have also identified is that the budget is supposed to be allocated to a particular priority that goes to improve the livelihood of our people. And those priorities are identified by our national plan, or those priorities are being made by those leaders when they come to Fiji PIFs and make those decisions. So we are trying to connect to say that those priorities, it can only be guaranteed to be implemented if resources or money are put into the budget to implement those things. We have seen leaders making decisions here in Fiji, particularly I see here who is here from Tonga. The Tongan leaders, they usually come here to Fiji, have a good time, put their hands up and vote, then they go home and forget about it. Does not translate it to another policy at the country to improve how those things impact in the lives of the people. So that has been like a big dream from us. If there's also something that can be developed to track that. I have no idea how it can be done, but it's something that we would love to have if it's possible. Edwin knows about that our leaders usually come, put their hands up, then go home and do nothing. So he should be here to do something to address that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll move on to a couple of people because we'll probably open up for maybe another two more questions, and then we're good for time, Sherry?
Yes, we are, Alex. I was just going to say to have all your questions answered and clarified while we still have PIANGO here in the room.
Online, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so my next, so the next person is Kushal. Do you want to ask your question? And then Charlie Reed will follow.
Sure, thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. This is Kushal from Fiji. So I have 2 questions, actually. The first one is with regards to as a mentor and the line between being a mentor and how much help you can provide your team. So for example, in some hackathons, there are guidelines that while a mentor, you can unblock a mentee. The mentor shouldn't just take over the entire implementation or actually take over the preparation of the pitch. So the first question for me would be with regards to this hackathon, the guidelines that mentors have, and the line between how much help is reasonable and to what extent we are allowed. And my second question is, thank you very much, Nanise, for the great domain knowledge that you've just provided us. During the hackathons, will consultation be readily available with regards to us developing our solution and consulting with the customer throughout the hackathon process, so that we know that we are on the right track? And yeah, so those were just my two questions. And regarding the Discord channel in general, I think there's a problem domain. So it took me a while to get there. So if anyone's wondering where the requirements are, it's there. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. So probably our last on a mentor-mentee type relationship. You know, I guess there's one part, another question to that that I want to ask. Probably, Dr. Humphrey, do you want to address that part of it? I don't particularly think we have a set of rules around that engagement, but I assume it's you could probably give some guidelines.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly speak to this. There's a lot of things that the mentor can help with the team, but one of the key distinctions that we need to have at the very beginning is that the mentor is not necessarily part of the team. So it's more of a guidance and providing guidance, and then providing direction, and then providing feedback, but not necessarily being like coding up the design or yeah. So it's just answering questions, or if it's a technical mentor, and okay, use this particular stack, or maybe use this particular open source alternative, maybe because of licensing issues for this particular type of library and whatnot, but not necessarily like, you know, giving feedback, even acting as a user for the prototype, but not you know, writing code and then, you know, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's basically a guide. Somebody could just, hey, pick your brain in terms of, hey, is this look good, or does this address what we're trying to achieve? Hey, I'm stuck on this particular part of the application, I can't get through. What do you think? How can you solve it? So I think that I like that response. What is the other one? Consultation part. Sherry, you want to tackle that one for me?
Hang on, Alex. I think somebody's asking a question about the length of the video submissions, because it's only 5 minutes allowed by DevPost. Actually, I think it's like 3 minutes, is it? Where we had agreed that we were going to start with some pitching sessions on the second day after lunch. We would have that portion of it recorded, because we have in the event recorded, and we could pass that also on to the judges to take note of during the judging period, because but it would mean that you would need to have your solution, your presentation ready for after lunch. So we would start at about 11 o'clock. It's in the program. We'll start after 11 o'clock Fiji time with pitching sessions, if that helps. But 3 to 5 minutes should be pretty good enough to put in your important points, and then you could just refer to the in your presentation to the pitching session for the day for the judges to take note of, if that helps. What was sorry, I missed the question on the consulting.
Just in terms of PIANGO's availability, if there's any additional questions.
Yes, so we will put, we have created the Discord server so that you can ask your questions over there, but we've also been requested to have one more session of just briefing of this exchange with PIANGO teams. And so we've only got Monday left, which we need to plan around, but they will also be there at the event. And so, you can ask your questions ahead of time. We could get it back to you through the Discord server, back the whole lot of back and forth. But otherwise, if you want to wait until Tuesday, which I think would be pretty late for you, but we will accommodate all your questions as best we can.
Thank you. Okay, so I've got, there was another, there was a Billy. So there's another person who raised their hand.
Yeah, we have Billy
Oh,
CT
Charlie.
and Charlie Reed.
Yeah, Charlie Reed, do you want to ask your question?
Thanks, Alex. This is Charlie. Just to add on to Alessandra's question directed to PIANGO regarding contributions, is it safe to assume that these contributions are in form of documentation, or is it just a matter of discussions that's being brought up amongst the CSOs and the funders and the donors, or is it just a matter of assuming that it's in form of documents?
Yeah. But they didn't document. Assumptions. Okay, so right now the way that our members are sending their issues or stuff to us is either sent it on email or it's a call or messenger, or whatever that they find comfortable. When there are times that the call for submissions from the PIFs or just an invitation for us to speak in any of their events, that doesn't allow us to go back to our countries to check what they say or their input. We just pull out issues from historical data, like previous submissions that we made that we know that has not been actions on. So that has been the way that we formulate some of those decisions that are sent to PIFs. As I said earlier, it can be a PIANGO submissions on our own, written in a kind of a policy format, or it can be PIANGO together with other regional CSO. We are part of a Pacific regional NGO, short for PIANGOs, that has about 12 regional NGOs. So sometimes we come together and agree to make collective submissions at the regional level. Or we are, as I said earlier, or we are invited to speak. And so just verbally part of our Talanoa sessions to talk about reflecting on some of the priorities of the region. But if I could just I'm not sure whether it's relevant, but there is in Tonga, the Civil Society Forum of Tonga had worked with a developer to do something similar as what we are doing at the regional level, to make submissions to government in terms of their budget. Every cycle of the budget, they make a submissions to see if government is considering some of the issues that they're facing in the developing of the budget for Tonga. And so the way that they had done it is that they are developing like a form with questions of what the community need to answer to be able to. So it's a simplifying how the community can engage, how citizens can engage, because our PFM projects was really just to have a simple mechanisms of simplifying the budget comes in about 100+ pages. And how do we simplify that so community and citizens can engage? And so they develop some kind of a simple form with leading questions to make it easier for community to answer. I think that, I don't know, I'm trying to talk the kind of language that I think people are doing, but I don't understand most of what I'm saying. But yeah, that's how the Tongan civil society are doing that in their submissions online, in an app that they've been working to develop. Probably a bit similar to what we are expecting from this one.
Thank you. So I have a question. So in terms of the submissions, are they quite public? I mean, do you expect it to be kind of the exchanges to be restricted within the platform, or are you okay to have it public, you know, so that everyone can see what's being submitted, even the governments, any party?
I think that that's a very good questions. We'll probably be looking at both, where there should be some kind of something that we can say what is need to be public and what is need to be closed.
Okay.
Yeah? And this is related to the nature of the issue. As I said earlier, that there's some issue that we'll be collecting response on. West Papua is one example where we have seen, you know, other players are not happy, and so then there are implications. So those kind of issue that if there is something in the tool that we can just say this one is closed, this one is public. That would be, I think that would be good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I know we're running. We're at it's 4:30. Sorry, I'm 2:30. Was it 3:30 in Fiji time?
2:30 in Fiji.
2:30 Fiji. So I think we're just going past. We've gone for about an hour and a half. Probably we'll just make it. We'll open up for maybe one more question. Anybody else? I know I saw Billy and Billy. Yep, Billy, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. First of all, thanks to everyone for the presentations today. I think this has been a really good session so far. My question is on, I think there's been a change of rules in the requirement for submission. So our team was just asking, I think first they came out, you needed a pitch deck plus a video. And then I think recently it just said you just need a pitch and the video. Like, we just want to know, is there an actual pitch deck required or just a video and the prototype?
So Billy, I mentioned earlier that we used the template rules requirement that came with the DevPost platform. And then we had to review the rules and submission requirements again with the UNDP team. But because you probably registered earlier than everybody else when you saw those earlier submission rules, and so we will accommodate that.
So there is a pitch deck or no?
We'll go with the pitch deck too.
Okay, no, just so we're clear, is it a requirement? It's still a bit unclear whether that's a requirement or whether we just do the video and the prototype.
So if your team has already started the pitch deck, we'll accept the pitch deck. We'll just make the changes to do the pitch deck, the rules, the video. PIANGO just wants the solution. Whichever way you can present the solution, we'll accept those submissions. Yeah, I agree with Alex. We will get. Can you reach out to us on the through the Discord platform to further discuss this?
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we'll clarify it and make sure it's clear, just so that there is one set of rules. We'll try to do that today. So I got another one. Michelle's asking, where do we find teams? And I think on the dev post site, you can actually say that you're looking for a team member. Probably use the Discord server as a way to engage with your other participants and see who's available, who wants to join. I suggest that might be the best way to, engage. And we hope the Discord server can also help share some of your experiences and, hey, I'm stuck on this. Is there anyone else who can help? I'm hoping that it will go to that level of engagement. There was a question that I had before for the mentors. In terms of how do you want to engage with your, people who need help? Is there a suggested way, maybe Humphrey or any other mentors that are here who've been to another hackathon, if you could just share your experience?
I think, so is it for the mentees, the teams reaching out to mentors or finding mentors?
I think both. I mean, where mentees can reach out to a mentor. So we have that on Discord. There is a particular section in Discord which allows, we got a mentoring channel, where you can say who is, find a mentor. There's a mentor room, and which you can carry out your engagement.
Yeah, so typically it's something like Discord or Slack. The ANZ, that's the most recent one, well, not the most recent one. It's just Slack. So you can use Slack or Discord, and that should be fine.
Okay. I think most of the questions have been asked by the Simon. I'll open up for one more, and then I think we'll come to a close. I've got Nancy.
Hi, I feel like I'm the only female here. and I feel like most of the participants are like developers. I have product exposure. I'm still trying to find a team. So if I end up not getting a team, do you accept solo projects?
Yes, I think we're open to both. You can come in solely by yourself or with a team. It doesn't matter. It's as long as you can solve the problem. Okay,
good. And then can we choose a mentor, or you're going to assign us to a mentor?
So we know that everybody wants Dr. Humphrey, but there's only one Dr. Humphrey. We have about 10 mentors that will be taking part in this hackathon. We want to be fair with everybody. We have a total, well, last night it was 65, so we thought we had enough, but this morning it's reached about, I think as of now it's about 83 participants. And so we're going to work that out, and then give us just at least the next 3 hours to work that out and allocate the mentees.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I think any final words from anybody before we close? But I think the
Hilton
session
still has his hand up.
Hilton, I'll let you.
Thanks. Sorry. I just wanted to ask PIANGO because I believe the requirements are still not that clear. I was wondering if they documented their current processes, like the main process of how all of this is going, like how they communicate with all the different CSOs and how they make their submissions. If they have any samples of their messages between each other, like the requests that come in from the other CBOs, just to help us understand the flow of things. And yeah, so one of the main things about being a developer is that if you don't fully understand the requirements, we can't build the best solution for you. So we're wondering if we could get just a bit more information from PIANGO. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilton. It's not written up on any process, but it's simple. Is it something that I can share with the team on Monday?
Yes, you can. Thank you,
So
Sally.
that I can draw that up on the weekend, Hilton.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. It's been a long session, and all good things have to come to an end. So I think at this stage I'll pass it back to PICISOC if you guys want to, and if there's any final remarks before we close.
Yes, Letty's doing a wrap up, but we just wanted to take a picture. If everybody's okay with that, can we have everyone switch on your cameras, please? Just our camera lady. Cello, you ready?
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let's take another one, please. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Pito.
Hello, Cello. We'll just hand this time over to Letitia Masaya, who's the current chair for PICISOC board. Letty, over to you.
Thank you, Sherry. On behalf of the PICISOC board and its members, the project lead, event leads, I wish to convey our sincere appreciation to Sam and Dr. Humphrey and the PIANGO in leading and delivering today's session. Definitely without your support, expertise, and valuable time, we wouldn't have come this far and gained so much from this experience and interaction. To the mentors, we really appreciate your time and support as well. We look forward to a rewarding experience working together with you in the next few days. For some of us, it would be a life-changing experience. PICISOC under the UNDP PFM project is PICISOC is a grant recipient. So we also extend our gratitude to them for making it possible for PICISOC to host this inaugural Pacific Hackathon. We also thank PIANGO being part of this hackathon, giving us a problem statement to work with. This event wouldn't be possible without the strategic vision from one of our former board member, Georgina, who secured the grant while some of us are now beginning to see the huge benefits of this event. We are amazed at the number of participants for this hackathon, and we thank you for registering, making sure we have an event happening. Just be please reminded that the event is on the 13th and 14th, next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Program starts at 9 a.m. Fiji time and finishes at 5 p.m. Fiji time every day. Again, the judging date is from the 14th April to the morning of the 22nd of April. And the team looks forward to receiving your submissions. I am excited and looking forward to next week where we can hack a solution amplifying our Pacific voices. Thank you, Thomas.
All the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Doctor.
Everyone.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Dr. Humphrey. Thank you, everyone.
Sherry.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.